today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
We're back with a new episode recap, finally in our season 7 era, and we could not be happier. Unfortunately, Carrie couldn't join me this week, but Emily from the Rookie Rewatch is back to discuss 701. Hi, Emily.
Hey, I'm excited to be back and really excited to go over the season 7 premiere. It was really fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. So we do have some news, so we'll go through that first. We do have the episode 703 description titled Out of Pocket. And it says, ahead of Bailey's return, John looks for clues to locate Jason Weiler. Then Tim and Lucy swap rookies. A friendly face resurfaces at the station, and Wesley feels unsettled over Angela. So it's airing January 21st. So we know that we have at least 3 weeks of the rookie, which is good because after last night, I want more of it, like right now. So,
Yeah.
I can't believe that Tim and Lucy are swapping rookies already, like into the 3rd episode.
Yeah. This is like these first batch of episodes are like they're like prime for like our rewatch themes. Like this one like has like that pilot, and then like next week I think is Selena's plainclothes day.
Yeah.
And then the swapping, because they did that in the original group too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. I hope to do that. That would be cool.
Do you want to take us through the Screen Rant article?
Sure. Alexi teased a bunch of obstacles for Tim and Lucy in an interview with Screen Rant, and pointed out that Tim is once again Lucy's supervisor, so a romance between them would be unethical. And Alexi alluded to the will they won't they dynamic, and that they're getting back to that. It's baked in with their chemistry, so being so dynamic. Part of the journey they're on is what does it look like going forward, and are the feelings still there? Along with, can she trust him again? So there's a bunch of obstacles, but still a desire down at the core for this to happen. Yeah, that's. I feel like they're the last sort of obstacles that they had. Like, it felt like it was pretty easy last time for them to like squash all those obstacles. So I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. How do you feel about like another potential slow burn? Like, do you want it a long one or shorter one? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I go back and forth. Like, I miss the relationship. I miss the domesticity and that bond, so it's kind of, while it's fun and I still like the journey, I'm so excited for what the season is going to bring, to be honest. And I thought maybe they'll be back together by the end of the season, but I don't know. Like, there's like, they tease so much different things and like hold back things. So I'm like, I don't know, but I kind of want to see it soon, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want like a whole season, even if it's just 18 episodes. Like, I don't want the whole season to be a slow burn. Like, can we speed it up?
Yeah. Like, I feel like I don't know for sure because obviously, but I feel like he's kind of doing that in a way to kind of keep the longevity of the show. But still, we're in like season 7. That's quite a while. I mean, we're in it like it's close to 10. So
yeah,
I mean, they need to. I'm probably more of a fan of a series kind of like having sort of bookends, like a beginning and an end. Like, I watched Grey's Anatomy for a while, and I'm like I had to stop at some point. So I know they talk about like Grey's, like wanting to have the longevity of Grey's, but not to like, I want kind of a bookend. I want to see them.
Yeah.
Let's see them get married and have babies
Yeah. Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want it to be rushed, but yet I'm like, okay, I don't want like a whole bunch of the slow burn, like, messing around, like bringing in. No, just give them some like angst, get them back together, and then like we can just forget that this ever happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a Give Me My Remote post-mortem, where Alexei spoke with the outlet for a post-mortem, touched on the tape storyline with Wesley, and he said that it seemed like a really fun way to not brush the corruption scandal under the rug, but to keep it alive and at the same time do it in an unexpected way, which is that among the tapes he's listening to is this guy confessing that he likes Wesley's wife. But also just to like watch him twist and turn because he legally cannot tell anyone what's going on. And then Alexei also touched on the Jason storyline and said that it comes to a head in the first half of the season, but not right away because it's ultimately the sort of fear and paranoia of having someone so dangerous like close to Bailey and Nolan like and they wanted it to be something that we lived in and that we're still in like even when Bailey comes back. And so it allows us also to have a deeper conversation about the trauma that she is experienced with Jason. So, do you want to go through the booked like after show thing that you had seen?
Yeah, that like I was on the Insider page, the article or something, and it said here's an like after show, and I'm like, what? Like, do they like? I didn't even know there was a thing of after shows. Like, have they done these before? I have no idea. But I'm sure it's like just for the sake of the premiere. But I wouldn't mind them doing an after show for like episodes and maybe interview other different casts.
Yeah.
But they talked to Nathan, and so like I'll just pull out some different things that I noticed. He had said, I guess this kind of goes with some of the other articles. But like Nathan said, Nolan is a bit festered, that Jason remains a loose end because, he wants to keep his loved ones safe. One thing cool that jumped out at me was that the scooter, they asked about the scooter scene. And Nathan said he's been pitching that for years. Says it was inspired by the Back to the Future scene when Marty steals the kid's skateboard. That's cool for me because I'm a huge Back to the Future fan. Yeah. Makes the premiere even kind of a bigger playground knowing that connection. But he said he also said it's nice not being a rookie anymore. Gets to call someone Boot rather than being called Boot. But I don't hear him call people. I don't call him. He doesn't call Selena Boot. So
no.
He said we'll see guest stars this season from the past. He just mentioned Skip Tracer Randy. That's one he could remember to tease.
Okay.
He talks about keeping his characters humble because he can do that more. And said Oscar is fun to watch but intensely dangerous. I thought it was interesting because they, in all of the articles that I read, they're talking more about Jason and they're saying they're both like the most dangerous, but like I think definitely like Oscar's to me, I don't know, like Oscar's more dangerous because I'm like he stabbed Wesley, he's killed before, like that's why he's in jail, but like did like Jason, I don't even remember why Jason was in jail, like he didn't kill anybody, right? So
I don't think so, but maybe he violated parole. I think he might have violated parole.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I love Oscar. Can we like keep him around? Like he can be out in the wind, but let's not hurt him to get him back because he just keeps making an appearance and I need more of it. So
yeah. And then they asked him about the relationship between John and Gray. He said that Gray's given him a lot of credit to be a good cop and have a sense of judgment. Have a sensible judgment. I like that because I've just that's one of the things that I kind of enjoyed watching is their relationship and how they've grown, and I particularly liked them how they were relating in this episode tonight. And then the last question that they asked him was about Tim and Lucy's competition. He said that Nolan, he doesn't know much about that. He's kind of unaware of that. So, and I think it certainly shows his obliviousness when he was with them.
Yeah.
Interrogation watch scene.
Yeah. Yeah. When he was like, Selena's great. Thanks for asking. I was like, yeah, you didn't really need to be in there for that. Like,
Like, you're not part of this.
yeah. Oh my God. It was just so funny though, because people were like, "Oh, when is he gonna find out about Tim and Lucy?" And I'm like, don't they all already know though? Like, I feel like they would.
I think, yeah, they all know. Like, they learned, that was season 5, and then they broke up. I think everybody knows.
Yeah.
I think he's just kind of like, it's just not something he like, maybe it's like not on his radar. He just doesn't keep up with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's busy, like, fighting. So, um, yeah, no, that video, I only watched some of it, but it looks really cool that they did that. So hopefully they do more of those.
Yeah.
There is a couple of like interviews from collider.com. They're more like videos, so we'll be sure to share those. There was one with Nathan and Jenna, and then one with Eric too. So yeah, they're kind of touching on like the other interviews that have been dropped, but they're just kind of in video form. So do you want to go through the next Screen Rant article?
Uh,
There was a couple this week.
oh, yeah.
Programs.
It shared why Lucy scored low on her detective exam, and what that means for her. Alexi said Lucy could stumble down a different path, and they're exploring that this season. He said it wasn't important in the fallout of Chenford relationship that Lucy. It wasn't. I'm sorry. It was important in the fallout of Chenford relationship that Lucy comes out of it with a renewed sense of agency, of not being a victim, of ultimately needing to make a career priority. And he also said part of the reason that she scored so low on the exam that she passed, but was just so far down on the list is that she put herself out there and put together the 5-player trade to get Tim a better job. So it's a sense of her going, I've got to look out for myself here. I've got to make myself a priority. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one that I saw like last minute, and I was kind of like, okay, yeah, maybe she's, putting the detective stuff kind of on hold, but
Yeah.
longing for it. So,
Yeah. Um, something I noticed, like, I think I did see this article today, and I didn't realize, I don't know why. I was like, she passed the exam. So I guess, because I was confused as like, oh, if there is a job that opens up, that Gray said, and uh, I guess it's not going to take her to, like, I was thinking it was going to take her another 2 years, like she had to take it again, or
yeah,
but maybe that her passing the exam gives her more of an opportunity. So.
yeah, yeah. I think passing the exam is good, but then there has to be a spot open, and like she fell down further on the list or something. I don't know like exactly how that would work. But yeah,
Yeah.
then Gray was like, this will help you like advance further if you be like a TL, even for the interim. So I
Yeah.
think that makes sense though, because I mean that's where Nyla and Angela started. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I was wondering about the process of like how that, like when she's like on that list, but she's 17, like what's the process after that? So
yeah. Yeah. So that's about it for the news. We do have like we'll share those articles and stuff on Twitter. And then we can just get right into the episode because it was a long one, but it was so good. I feel like it went by so fast. Like the entire day leading up to it, I was like, all right, can it be 9 o'clock Central Time yet? Like, please, I'm begging for this. And then like as I'm watching it and live tweeting, I'm like, wait, it's already 9:30? Like, how are we here?
yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's just going by too fast. I want like another hour of this. So yeah. But the opening scene is the hunt for Jason. So Nolan's one day back from being wounded in the line. of duty, and the team in SWAT is ready to enter a house that they think Jason's at with occupants according to a CI. And they're like up on a rooftop with like planes flying over. It's a really cool shot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was a really cool shot.
Yeah, I by the way, uh, we noticed that Alexi, this is he's directed by Alexi.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
this is
written by him, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is his third episode to direct, and I just like I'm kind of in awe. I'm always kind of really into visuals, and because I did photography, but um I notice all those little scenes, and I'm just yeah,
Yeah.
props to for that. I
It
love
was
it.
really cool. And like how the planes were like so close. I'm like, oh my God. I know that they're close to the airport. Like they're supposed to be in the scene, but those planes are very close.
I
Um,
think I got next to the airport, if I
yeah,
remember.
yeah. So he's talking with Selena, like she comes up next to him, and she sounds like she's kind of making fun of him, questions that like, he got shot in his hindquarters, and he's like, or she's got 3 months left of her rookie period, and she's got to stay on his good side. Um, and then Nolan and Selena join the team on the ground as Gray, Nyla, and Tim are all giving the briefing on the situation. I love that, like, even though Tim is a TO, like he's still giving briefings. He's
Yeah.
Sergeant, which makes sense, but yeah. And then Lucy asks a question and calls him Sergeant, calls Gray Sergeant at first. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Lieutenant." And he's like, "No, it's fine. I'm still getting used to it myself." But I'm like,
It's I did like
yeah,
doing that edit of Sergeant Gray, Sergeant Gray, Sergeant Gray. I
yeah,
was I'm not this is gonna be hard for me.
yeah.
Anything
Well, at
else?
first I was like, I hope that's not the only mention that we get of it because that's like so quick. It was like a blink and you miss it thing.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
he's been for like 6 seasons, so it's like that's gonna
yeah,
be hard.
yeah. So then
Yeah.
the team rolls up to the target house and the shootout ensues, taking an officer down. Suspects are on the run, like all of that. Nolan and Selena work to get one, and the rest of the team are all like engaging in the shootout. So after clearing the house, they figure out Jason wasn't there. Tim and Lucy are working together throughout this entire thing. Like Lucy gets into like a fight basically with the suspect, and Tim comes around the corner and is like, "Oh heck no! Like
Yes.
I'm not doing this." And I was just like, "All right, so this is how we're starting season 7. They're broken out, but they're fighting crime together." I mean, it's literally like what Tamara said: "Make out, stop crime."
There
Totally. See you now.
um well and it looked like she had kind of a big guy to fight. Like
Mhm.
had the big guy to fight in like the 100th episode, and she's got one
Yeah.
here that he kind of came and like it's like pounded him like
Yeah.
and it reminded me of the fight that they had in 522 in that on the stairs or whatever with the mask guys.
Yes. Yeah.
And like so I think somebody was choking her or something, and he was like no,
Yeah.
get him, like I'm gonna get him off of her. No, you cannot hurt her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it was funny too when Nolan was like gonna go jump the fence and he's like, "Yeah, I can't do that." And so he's like having to figure out another way. And that's when he commandeers the scooter. And Selena runs off and she's like, "How did you get here before me?" And he's like, "Work smarter, not harder." I'm like, "Yeah, honestly, I would do the same."
Oh, that interview had said like they mentioned like, oh, it's kind of a rookie move, and I was like, yeah, that was
Yeah.
a rookie move for him, but it worked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I know also about Jennifer?
Yeah.
Um, so they seemed like even when they decide like uh they're not partnering together, like after they they started dating and they had to like split and not work together,
Yeah.
always they always find a way, whether it's them or somebody assigning it, they always find a way to like work together. Like
Yeah.
last episode, like the finale of last season, it was like, oh well, Lucy's gonna be riding with me. Like I don't know who makes this decision. I don't know who made that decision here, but it's just they're always I love that like there's only like a couple of handful of episodes throughout the whole series where they're off working on other, and it's just that like almost since the very beginning, it's just they've always been able to work together and do that. But yeah, they're always gonna they always find a way to work together or be together.
I feel like some of that's just like the callback to the OG partnership. Like,
yeah,
that's really the only OG partnership that we still have.
Yeah,
from season one. So like, it just makes sense
from the beginning. It's like they're still gonna work together.
Mhm.
I think I did a video last year that was like a compilation of like the different moments, and that was like the most popular one on there. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you want to take us through the new rookies and like your observations and stuff with them? Because oh my God, I love them so much already.
Well, this is fun to meet the new rookies. Truly, I'm just giddy about it. So we start off with Selena's excited. She's talking to John. She's excited to be in her short sleeves and wants to flaunt her superiority, as Nolan puts it, to the new rookies. But she plans to welcome them as a veteran member of the FTO program. Nolan quickly humbles her by reminding her she's still a rookie who has to sit in the front row with the newbies. This is like right before it. There's if you watch the title card and the opening after that, it parallels the pilot opener of like that. Like they have all the collection of the B-roll shots of LA. And I don't think to my knowledge, I'm not sure exactly, but I don't think they've done it that where it's like a scene on top of a B-roll on top of a B-roll, like a collection of them. I know they like to do those shots of LA and like between the transitions of different scenes. I think that was probably the other time, and I think it was probably intentional given that it's a repilot. So
yeah. I loved those the collection of B-roll shots. I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like I feel like they're updated, they're crisp, and then just like cutting to the roll call. I was like, wow, we haven't had one of these in a long time.
It just felt so exciting. And then they got like the rock music going with it.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a party. Thank you for our party, Ricky Knight.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, we haven't had a roll call scene in a while, and this is the best way to bring it back.
Yeah.
Like, can we have more of those?
So Seth Ridley and Miles Penn, they're the newest rookies. They're getting ready for roll call in the locker room. Seth expresses his nerves, and Miles gives advice about not letting their TO smell their fear or they will eat you alive. And they were talking about this as Sergeant, aka TO Tim Bradford, walks up, like this little pan up from his shoes.
Yeah.
That Alexi did. He walks into the rookies and in his toughest TO voice asks Ridley why he's not ready for roll call. Ridley nervously responds, and then Tim gets in his face and tries to intimidate him, as he once did with Jackson West on Rookie Day in the pilot, trying to get them to quit. And I have to derail you for a moment with this little off-road for Tim. It reminded, because I was thinking about how he's trying to get them to quit. I was thinking back his first day of sergeant, he's like really TOing. I remember he's really TOing it up, being a new sergeant. And Gray asked, "Are you trying to get them to quit?" And I'm just thinking, yes, that's Tim's prerogative. He just and as Eric puts it, in one of the Collider interviews, he said, "If you can handle it from me, you can handle it from anybody, and you'll be the best you can be out on the street as well." So, but yeah, and I'm just thinking about, I get kind of nostalgic because I'm thinking about like Tim's journey, from and all the like iterations. Like I know we talk about like missing T. We've been missing T.O. Tim and Metro Tim and Sergeant Bradford, and I equally like I'm like equally I need them all equally. Can I have them all at once?
Yeah.
Because yeah.
I love how he brought that T.O. Tim Bradford back too with Seth and Miles. Like he could have easily done it with Aaron and Selena. I mean, I feel like he did a little bit with Aaron, but not even that much because he wasn't really their TO. So like it kind of made sense. But I mean, I would think that they're kind of like anyone will do that. But I also loved how a couple of people like paralleled that on Twitter and they were like, Officer Jan is behind, like watching them, like, and kind of smiling, like, yep, Tim Bradford's doing that again.
Yeah, he was there for both of that. I thought,
Yeah.
very nice way to place Officer Jan. That was very
yeah. Like a very good callback. And then just the way that Seth was like, I'm so nervous. And like Tim Bradford, I was like, oh my gosh, you sweet little cinnamon roll. It was so good.
Well, then like Penn is sort of like kissing up to Bradford and Nolan comes in and greets them. And this is like that scene that they show from, I believe it's that original San Diego Comic-Con trailer. And this is what I love. It's not Nyla who's giving them nicknames, it's Bradford.
Yeah.
Calls them Fainting Goat and Peacock, which by the way, I have to look these things up. I had no idea what these mean.
I don't understand the fainting goat, but the peacock, I guess.
Yeah, I had to look that up. I don't remember what that, but peacocking is like, I guess you're kind of like
showing off.
Cocky. Yeah, you're off. So, but I love that he's all the different nicknames and he's giving Peacock and he calls Miles Texas, which I love. That's where I'm from.
Which I also said in the wish list episode that I recorded on Sunday. I hope that Nyla or Tim calls Miles Penn Texas. Just because, like once or twice, just because I feel like it would be so funny if they're like cut out the Texas accent or whatever. Like, you're not in Texas anymore or something. Like, and then Tim did that a few times and I was like, I called it. I wanted that. So yeah. It was great.
So he's kind of like, I feel like he's kind of taking up the like the nickname mantle at this, I don't know, because he was like always like boot, boot, boot. And I don't even think I heard him maybe once or twice call him boot or one of them boot in this episode. It was more of the nicknames.
Yeah. And he didn't pull I've been shot boot, where are you or anything. Like I was sad that we didn't get that, honestly.
Yeah. And I think they're still expecting it. Like maybe we'll get it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it would be too obvious if they in the first episode. Can I also just say that I said this before, but that was so out of character for Nolan to be like that in the locker.
I know.
When that trailer first came out, I was like, why is he like this? And I'm like, even last night, I was like, he's not like this. He's usually nice. Like, why are we making him like this? So weird.
It was a little out of character for him. Yeah. So then we see Lucy stopping in Gray's office, and Gray tells Lucy there are not enough TOs, so he used his new rank to pull strings to move Lucy to an interim P3 promotion, which is long overdue, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Gray assures her she can still pursue UC work and that he would owe her, and it would be short term, and that it most importantly would strengthen her position when a detective position opens up. So and then Tim enters gently as Gray tells him the news about Lucy. Tim's not surprised. He brags about being her teacher. Lucy quips back, and before the Chenford flirting continues, Gray stops him. He says, okay, I don't know what this is, but I got I got things to do for roll calls, and he sends them on our way. Their way.
Like ushers them out, and I saw someone meme that too, and it was like him being like, "Okay, now get back together." And I was like, God, I love the twin fandom so much.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
And then Tim makes an offer to ask for his advice, but she knows him well, is very familiar with his bag of tricks, saying she'll use a modern approach instead. And Tim proposes a bet on who trains a better rookie. Lucy declines and walks away, but then she comes back curious of the terms. So, and I don't like all that stuff is like technical, like, so I don't really care about what the term, I don't understand what are. I want to know what each of them get if they win. Like,
yeah,
we know that we know from that clip that he said they don't put money on it. So like, what is it like? Lucy has to go on a date with him, or
yeah. Because like, okay, so we see the date or some type of date in the trailer for next week. So
yeah,
no, because it would only be like their second day of training. Like surely the bet's not over yet.
yeah, because
Why are they going on that date?
I probably that's just them hanging out or something.
Yeah.
Is equally going to be just as good because Chenford. But I don't know. And then one thought was like, oh, maybe he asked, because everybody says maybe she is. Everybody says she's wearing the necklace in that hotel scene. So maybe he asked her, like, if that's a bet, maybe he asked her to put it back on or something for some reason. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm so curious.
But
I'd love to get the bet back.
Yeah, I do.
Like it's not a season, well, it is kind of a season one thing, but like it's just a classic Chenford callback that I feel like if we can't have them together, like it's nice to have a bet going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to know what they win. Like if they don't put money on it.
Yeah.
Just bragging rights? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
maybe we'll find out next week.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and then like how long does it go to? Like does it go to the plainclothes day? Does it go to the switch or whatever? Like
yeah.
How long it goes on for. So
all the mentioning different times in the episode, I'm like, don't talk to me about time in the rookie. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Timing does not exist in
it doesn't
in the universe.
So in the they're all in the roll call room, and Selena greets the new rookies and gives them the essential information. Sit at the front and don't talk to anybody unless they talk to you. Seth is very grateful, but Miles is appreciative, yet he doesn't have any need for it, as he's had 2 years as a cop in Texas. Nolan comes in to join Lucy and Tim, who are already sitting next to each other at the TO table. And by the way, if you notice, Lucy is sandwiched in between her two exes.
I didn't even think about that until I saw someone tweet that, and I was like, oh my God. Oh my gosh.
I think I don't know, is there a promo picture of them? And I saw it and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, so there is one of like Lucy and Nolan, and then it's like cut, and then there's another one that it's like Lucy and Tim.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I guess we didn't think of that before. I don't know, but it's good.
Like it won't be long before one of them finds out at last, right? Like it's Tim finding out about Nolan and Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like maybe they all know.
Maybe they do.
Don't know. But I feel like that also goes to show like, they're like Lucy and Tim are still friends at the core of it because they're still willing to sit by each other. They're still willing to work together. I mean, they might not even have that choice or whatever, but like even making the bet, like they're still gonna go to great lengths to be friendly with each other.
Mhm.
Like they didn't let the relationship and the breakup affect anything else. So I don't know. I feel like that's what makes them a really good couple. Like,
Yeah,
besides all of it, like they're friends first and foremost.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. They have that bond that they created back years as Rookie and Tio. So
Yeah.
it sticks. Um, and then John congratulates Lucy and asks which one will get the ringer. Tim prays Gray gives him the Virgin, and Selena
Yeah,
notes.
another nickname.
Yeah, got another nickname. Um, Selena notices. So I think this is a point where they're talking about the case.
Uh-huh.
Um, Selena notices. I thought that was really nice. Selena notices Seth's having trouble with his pen during roll call and offers him one. Um, Gray announces the new rookies. Seth and Miles introduce themselves. Seth slipping a little on remembering his badge number, which I don't know why. I How can anybody remember badge numbers?
Right. And on the first day, like,
Yeah, there was like what that was one of the trivia questions on the social media yesterday on the rookie
yeah.
social media. That was the only one that I didn't get. I was like, I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
what
same. I was like, wait, we know Nolan's badge number?
I
I'm
can't even
sure that it's been said though.
I can't like I know we were like super focused on like Lucy and Tim and I didn't memorize that one.
Yeah.
And then Miles shares his time at Sugarland, Texas, PD, and starts to make his passionate editorial comment. Gray is not amused and then goes on to make his traditional "You've earned the right to be here" rookie speech, and I love that. Every time there's a new rookie, and
Yeah.
it always pretty much the same. There's a little bit of differences between, but it's
Yeah.
always I love it. I love he
Yeah.
done.
And I love how he like walks right up to their desk or to the table and he's like, I'm getting like up close and personal. But when Miles is making his speech, did you catch Gray's like face? Like he's picking up the coffee and then like after he's like, like he puts it back down and like Miles continues to go on and Gray's like, no, like what is going on? I caught it on my rewatch and then I just had to keep like rewinding and going back and I was like,
Yeah.
this is just so perfect because he gets so pissed when people like,
Yeah.
derail his roll calls.
There's like so many minute little
Mhm.
things to catch in the episode that are just so funny. And
Yeah,
there's more. I know because I've noted some other ones. So
yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. Um. Uh. Gray announced Tim would be Miles' TO and Lucy will be Seth's. Seth and Lucy meet, and Lucy kind of keeps it kind of business and pretty short, telling him to go get war bags and set up shop. And Miles tries to flirt with Lucy, but Tim shuts that down quick, telling Texas to get his eyes off Officer 10. And he's not
Okay.
he can't like you don't even deserve to like breathe the same air
Huh.
as
So
my
good.
girl.
It reminded me of the season one episode where that guy with the eye patch is sitting on the chair and Tim like slaps him. Not that like Tim would do that to Miles, but I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh my God, Tim like does not like people like trying to hit on Lucy. I mean, I wouldn't either, but like it's just so funny. Oh my God, it was so good. I love that Miles was like cocky like right out of the gate, but then like he was getting humbled.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and Seth's just like a nervous little puppy. And he's like, I don't know, I'm happy to be here.
Best to describe him. He's such a puppy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So new and yeah, green. So cute. And Tim tells Miles to go set up shop, expecting perfection after all the peacocking that he just displayed.
Tim was just in rare form this episode, and I loved it. It was such season one Tim.
Yeah.
It was so good.
And Lucy smiles at Tim. Um, confident in her chances on the bet. But I love how, like, right before that, I love how she, like, they all leave and she just kind of gives him a look and he's like, what?
Yeah. It's the little like facial expressions that like I always have to catch like on the rewatch or like multiple times later because I'm like, wait, like I was so busy like looking at someone else or like listening for a piece of
Yeah,
dialogue, and I'm like, I have to go back and watch just those two characters' facial expressions to each other.
yeah,
Because sometimes like you can tell that it's not Tim and Lucy, like it's Eric and Melissa, and then
mhm,
there's other times where it's like, wait, we can't really tell who that is,
yeah.
Yeah, so good. So good.
And then Selena talks about having short sleeves. Um, and is excited. And she's like whipping her arms back and forth. Like you can
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
It kind of reminded me of when John got his short sleeves, I feel like. Because wasn't John kind of like in awe of them too? Or was that
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, he
John?
made a couple of notes. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's very, and I think maybe I'll have to go back and look because I saw a post on the rookie Instagram earlier and they showed her like saying like it's so freeing, and I think he might have said something like that originally.
Yeah.
So
I wonder because like we know that they're repiloting this season. And I kind of wonder if they're gonna do that with John and Selena to a way. Like I feel like with her plainclothes day, it's gonna be kind of reminiscent of John's. Because like remember when he was with Talia and she was like, just act like I'm not even here. And he just like talking to her. I feel like that's gonna be Selena. And then John will just be like, just act like I'm not even here. Like, I feel like it'll kind of be like that, but not as much as John's was because he was a little annoying with it in the first season.
yeah,
So yeah, yeah,
yeah, I'm excited to see how hers is going to go down.
yeah.
uh,
Especially because in the preview for next week, she has to like jump to like close the trunk of the
oh yeah,
yeah. I don't know. I'm excited to see her playing close day because even
yeah.
at the end of the preview, she's like, please just put down the gun. So yeah, no, it
I feel
looks
like
good.
we've been waiting forever for her
Yeah,
playing. Like it's been a while.
yeah,
Um, and oh, and then she mentions we got our mention of Aaron. Um, she says that he got his way earlier. But I don't know. Uh I I feel like we only saw his short sleeves like right before he became P2, so I don't know. What's the rookie timeline?
yeah.
Um um and then Nolan asked Lena how Aaron is doing at North Hollywood. So we know he's over there. And we learn he's settling in and happy that nobody at that station knows about him being a patient of Blair's
Mhm.
scandal. So it was a nice mention. Hope
Yeah.
to hope to see him again.
That was something else that I had said in the wish list is like I want Selena to talk about Aaron. Like I don't
Yeah,
want it to be like Lucy or Nyla. Like that would be fine if it was them, but I really wanted it to be Selena because I feel like they were closer friends and
yeah,
it just makes sense. So I'm glad that it was her. And then I'm glad that it was like brought up in like a organic way and it wasn't just like, so Aaron's gone, like a roll call or something. So yeah, but
yeah.
I liked it.
Um, and Lucy explains. So Lucy's uh, they're now writing together. Lucy explains to Seth she wants him to set him up for success, but not to expect to be coddled. He says he'll be a sponge, and I think. I think Lucy kind of showed a great balance of this. I noticed like she's kind of being complimentary and but uh she didn't but she was very business like. I feel like this was kind of a different side of Lucy, a new side of Lucy that I noticed it was different. And she didn't spend a whole lot of time like getting personal or like really showing more of her personality. at least right here out of the gate.
Yeah.
I don't know. She might be like, I don't know if that's like, maybe she's unconsciously copying Tim a little of that from Tim, because
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't really, right off the bat, he didn't really show his like true personality
Mm-hmm.
when they were first when they first met. And just from knowing him, I think. But yeah, she seemed more business, but you know, without being harsh. And they get a call, and she tells him to hit the lights, and he's like super smiley puppy dog, like
Yeah.
and then
He's
meanwhile,
so like eager to be there.
yeah,
And I feel like that's such a classic like rookie trait, you know?
yeah, yeah, and it's all the different rookies that we've had. It's all different kind of personalities. There's all different stories. So he's it's a good trait to see all of them. But he's good.
Yeah.
But a different. I'm excited to see they have a really good way of like developing new characters and stories behind them. So
Yeah.
and then meanwhile, Miles is trying to impress Tim by showing his knowledge of plugging a partial license plate, and that seemed to like annoy Tim. I couldn't tell whether like it was like what it was about it that annoyed, because I know he said earlier in the episode that like he's the, is that what the ringer is, like the like they come, they have all this knowledge or something, but he said that he wants, like he's trying to break all his bad habits from.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's like was this a situation where it's like this thing he's like peacocking about, but he's trying, like, this is not a good,
It's not like a good skill that he has.
maybe it's one of the bad habits he has or something he wants to break.
Yeah.
That doesn't really necessarily fit with the LAPD or the Tim way.
Yeah. I feel like it's gonna be a really interesting dynamic to see with Tim and Miles, because I feel like Tim is so like by the book at times. Like, I mean, we saw it in this episode too. Like, he's not afraid to go cowboy, as Miles had said, but I feel like he's so by the book, and Miles is going to try to be like, the hot shot in a way and just kind of like prove himself, but then also um really have to like work harder to like unlearn some of these things. And it'll be really interesting to see how Tim deals with that, because like he's so used to like it's his way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was a reason for both of Tim and Lucy to get the rookies that they did, because
Yeah.
like it has to teach them things. Like, I feel like Lucy's not gonna coddle Seth, but I also feel like she's got to be a little bit tougher with him, because
Yeah.
otherwise he's just like gonna like screw things up. And I feel like we're gonna see that next week. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
There's also a little bit of they mirror each other. They're rookies kind of in a way.
yeah. Well, and I feel like it's a good dynamic between Miles and Seth too. Like, Seth can learn from Miles, but then also Miles will be learning from Seth, as far as like, no, like you have to be a little bit more receptive to things. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see how all of that plays out.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think some of the next stuff is like stuff from the case.
Yeah.
I know you might be talking about, but I can jump to this if you want me to, or
Yeah, go for it.
so I mean, later as they're like they've gotten into the case, Tim and Lucy join John watching the interrogation that's happening with Gray and Garza, and Lucy and Tim ask each other how they're rookies. The cowboy, there's another nickname, and the virgin are doing.
I feel like we should do a tally of how many nicknames Miles has in one episode.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point it outdoes anything that Nyla did for Aaron.
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like it does.
And it like there's he called she all she called him was 5 minutes, and I don't even think she found a new nickname for him. I don't
Yeah.
think um
Is there a bunch for Nolan then? I feel like she had a bunch for someone.
it was 5%.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what else she
So maybe it was Nolan because that was like in her early days.
Lucy was not Nolan.
Yeah. And Selena was like voodoo something, right?
Yeah, I need to go back and find that. I don't remember what
Yeah.
she but anyway, we were talking about this earlier where John intersects the conversation and he wants to be included.
Yeah. He
Selena,
always wants to be included. I like John
great.
Nolan. I do, but sometimes read the room, dude. Read the
Yeah.
room.
Yeah. Um, and then at one point I like this. So Selena, Seth, and Miles convene at the top of the stairs later on, and Seth asks Selena if it's always this intense, and Miles is concerned with proving himself to be the best. Seth says for him it's just wants to help people, and I think that's where I feel like he mirrors a little bit of Lucy.
Yeah.
That's very Lucy of him. And then we hear Selena calling out their astrology signs. They're Aries and Pisces. So
And the way that they were like so confused of how quick she got that, and she's like, it's a gift. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh,
wait till you get to know Selena Juarez.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we're later in the episode. Seth and Miles are heading out in the locker room, and Seth utters the dreaded Q word, asking if tomorrow will be quieter. And Miles tells him, "Not now that you jinxed it." Not in a sort of Nyla Harper way.
I was gonna say also a Talia Bishop way.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I feel like she was like, no, why do you have to jinx it? Like when they were in the apartment building, I think, right? Or was that, yeah, that was him and Talia.
Yeah. And then Seth gets like jump scared. He's like, ah!
No, just the way that he like went back had me on the ground. I kid you not. I was like, oh my God, he is like actually afraid of this man. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. Okay, when I tell you I'm a Seth Ridley fan, after last night, I was like, oh, this man, I'm a new fan. I'm a fan of his. So yeah, so good.
And Tim asked Seth if there were any blemishes and not to lie to him. He will find out. And I thought, yeah, he'll find out from Lucy, probably,
Yeah.
share. Be sharing that.
But also like Tim just like standing there with his arms crossed, like so grumpy. And I was like, I would actually be afraid of that man right now.
It's like the guns are out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like
People paralleled that too.
I
I
was-
was like, oh my God, I love this fandom so much. We're really all that just delusional and just that like unhinged. And it's
yeah.
the best thing ever. So good.
And oh yeah, he shares about puking in the car, and Tim tells Miles he almost got a blue page for his reckless behavior, but he remains on thin ice. They say their goodbyes, and Tim leaving with try to suck less.
Uh-huh.
And that was one of those quotes that they teased in one of, I think, the spoiler TV preview.
Yes.
We I think we guessed who did you guess that one?
I guess try to suck less from Tim.
Oh, so you got that one right.
Yeah.
I think I said
Yeah. And you had said One was going to be Lucy, the try to suck less.
Yeah,
You didn't have Tim on your list at
I did.
all.
Yeah, you
No.
got them all. That one, but that one was
Tim also said the cut the crust off his sandwiches one too when he was talking to Lucy.
yes. And we didn't we talk about like it would be funny if they're talking about the rookies? Because my initial thought was like, oh, that's Angela talking about Jack or
Yeah.
something. So he did. He's talking about the rookies.
Yeah.
Or Seth.
Yeah, that's what you had said. I was thinking that one was gonna be Nyla. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean I would have never thought that he would have said both of those, but I can see it. I mean it did happen, but yeah, it seems like it. So
And I thought this was a fun parallel how Penn says, "See you tomorrow," and Tim responds back, "Unfortunately," in his
yeah.
tough tone. But later when Lucy says, "See you tomorrow," Tim responds looking forward to it in his softer tone, only reserved for Lucy Chen.
Yeah. With like the puppy dog hard eyes. He's like,
Yeah.
"Yes, I'll see you tomorrow." I'm like, this man 5 seconds ago was like, hard ass, like, don't piss me off, don't lie to me. I'm like, the change in this man is
Yeah.
completely insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's so good. Oh my gosh.
So the very final scene we see of the rookies, we get our first glimpse of a new rookie's personal life. We see Miles pull up to a residential curb in a station wagon, and by lantern, he gets ready for bed in the back of his car. So it seems he's living there, and I think that will be interesting to see what's the story behind that, and maybe I thought maybe how that might figure into who the girl is, because they're in the promo he's hugging in the season trailer. So
Yeah.
interested to see how that is what's behind all that. I first thought I was like, if maybe he's using somebody else's address, but I'm like, if he had to go to the academy, right? Like if you
Yeah.
don't, I mean, you have to have an address, or maybe he used his old address or something.
Yeah. Well, I would think he would have to go to the academy, even though he's already a cop. He has to learn the LA ways.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Alexia talked about it in a couple of interviews how like there's no uniformity. So he has to like learn the LA ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know because I forgot all about the girl that he was talking to until shortly before we started recording, and I was like, so where does she come in at then?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was like a girlfriend or someone. But yeah, I don't know because in episode 2 it says something about like someone looking for a new place to live.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Maybe
I'm like,
yeah.
maybe. But also, I would love to see him and Seth living together.
Yeah.
It would be a good callback to like Jackson and Lucy.
Yeah.
And 2, I just want to see their friendship more, like outside of work.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they have so much to offer to each other. So
Yeah. That would be good. On top of like our already established characters, that would be a really great layer to just add on to that.
yeah.
So, and I thought we would see, I thought we'd see more also personal, like where Seth goes, but we did get a little bit of a glimpse of his personal because he was talking about his girlfriend, I think, in the scene. So, but I'm excited to see more of, where it's going to go with both of them.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised to get pieces of their backstory in the first episode, with it being such an action-packed, heavy episode. Not even like heavy in terms of like emotional, but just like action. And then with so many other storylines going on with like the Chenford stuff and then the Bailey and John, like I was shocked to kind of see that, but I'm glad that we did because it sets it up for a good story. And like now we're invested. Like I want to see where Miles goes with all of this. And I thought it was sad when he like put his cowboy hat like over his face to go to sleep. I was like, well, I want to give him a hug. I want to give him and Seth a hug because they're just like adorable. And also, like, they survived their first day with Tim Bradford in their presence. So, yeah, they deserve to just like eat a big bowl of ice cream or
You
something.
know what we missed? Yeah, like in the pilot they had that like going to the bar and the karaoke. I'm like they deserved like, you know,
Yeah,
something like that. We missed that.
yeah, yeah. And like, they can have that with Selena. Like, literally, the rookies now are the rookies from season one, like two guys and a girl. Like, no,
Hmm.
perfect.
Yeah.
So I was being a little unhinged, and I was like, I mean, granted, this is before I remembered about Miles and that girl that he's hugging, but I was like, okay, if we're really repiloting season one, which one of the rookies hooks up with Selena? And then I was like, no, I don't
Uh,
want to go there. I can't because she's living with Lucy, so it can't be Seth unless they're like sneaking. I don't know. I was like, don't
no.
even go there anymore.
But
So
I think I see people are already shipping maybe Selena with Miles. I don't know.
that's
But
what I was thinking.
but I'm like, I haven't even seen this. Like this was before the air, and I'm like, I haven't even seen the episode. I don't know how you
Yeah.
I can't do that yet.
Yeah. So part of me had thought that, and then I was like, no, I don't know. Maybe I could see him like flirting with her, but even then, I don't know. I could see her like kind of shutting it down because of all the errand stuff. She's
Yeah.
probably like, no. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, it'd be so. I cannot wait to see Lucy and Selena's roomie era too.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, hopefully next week or next couple episodes we get to see that. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see roommates.
Yeah. Because she's so inquisitive, and I cannot wait for her to like ask Lucy or like nudge Lucy incessantly about Tim. And
Yeah.
Lucy's like, I'm like, either I'm not talking about this or let me divulge every single thing and
Yeah.
have a whole therapy session. So, yeah, that's kind of getting ahead, but like, we know we're going home with these characters more.
Yeah.
So, like, give that all to me. So,
The amount of things that they have teased for the entire season, like there's just so much and all
yeah,
of it like and it's like for it, there's so much for every character. It seems like it feels like we're gonna be able to um
see a lot.
see everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was excited that a good portion of the end of this episode really followed them home. Like we saw Lopez at home. We saw Miles like, getting ready to end the night. Like we saw Lucy and Tim like leaving for work. Like I feel like it was such a good setup for the rest of the season and going home with those characters. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean even like Gray and Garza like walking out was
Yeah.
fun. It was nice to see. So yeah, I don't know. I'm so excited. Like I can't believe that we have to wait like 4 more days for the next episode. I'm like, this is when I kind of wish that it was just streaming so that I could just binge it all. But
Yeah.
I like also waiting because I like to put myself through that apparently. So yeah.
It
But
would be so much nicer to have to do that and not like have like every Tuesday night like be like
yeah,
every oh we're gonna do this every Tuesday
yeah,
because I'm just so wired on
yeah,
rookie nights. Like I just can't like
yeah.
shut myself down.
Yeah. Last night, like, because it was taking a while, it felt like for it to come. I'm like, all right, I'm like gonna lose steam. Like, I had to like rally myself up. And then as soon as it came on, I was like, oh, forget it. Like, my energy is back. I'm
Yeah.
ready. So, yeah. I don't know. I like waiting for it every week though. Like, it makes me appreciate it more and it like gives me something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Whereas if I just like binge it, it'd be over in like 2 days, if
Yeah.
that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
So next we have the Nuke case. The Nuke. This was like the biggest storyline of the episode. So Nolan and Selena roll up to a pharmacy that's in the middle of getting robbed. The suspect's in the wind. Chen and Ridley are joining the hunt to find him. And then they end up finding the car that the suspect drove off in.
Okay,
Yeah,
there he started to say like there was an alley on Lincoln or whatever, and um my nerdy self, like this is like, you don't want to be me. Like while I'm watching live, I'm sitting there. Oh, let me go find this clip from the pilot because I swear that's like the alley. Well, from like when Tim, like right before when Tim got shot, and so I think I was like, I couldn't find it. It took too long, and then I think I found it like later. But and then I was rewatching it, and I was like, Lincoln, that sounds like the like I know they were rattling off street names in the pilot during that time, and so I was like, oh, what if it is the actual same alley or whatever? It's not.
Okay.
But no, they had to have that place sort of intentionally because it kind of is not the same. It looks kind of similar, but because they're repiloting and they're calling a lot of pilots back, they had to have like placed that purpose. Especially since she mentioned that particular.
Yeah. There were a lot of callbacks to the first episode, so but yeah, so as they're going to approach it, Lucy's letting Seth like tell her what they should do, and it's like don't parrot the academy training, like, instead like look like focus on the real world. And so the guy's dead, but we see Seth get sick and contaminate the crime scene, which is classic rookie behavior. I feel like we've seen a couple of them get sick.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like I was thinking, I was like, how many like that would be a compilation video that nobody would watch. But like all the times that they either we're gonna get sick, are you gonna puke? Yeah. Because that's happened.
Yep. So then we see Bradford and Penn, who I'm dubbing right now as Penford. Chenford and Penford, ship name, partnership name. Here we go. We lost Bradson, we got Penford.
Yeah, y'all like all of your ship names. Like I'm calling y'all own them. Shop Taco.
Yeah.
Ship. But no, like I noticed that in my either like in my rewatch or live, I was like he's shouting Pen, and I'm thinking Chen. I'm hearing Pen, and so it's like all these things that rhyme, but it's like but no, they were talking about like Derek and Eric and Melissa, and then I was hearing Ridley in my head, and I was like Ridley, that sounds familiar. And because since it's like calling back to that time, it was like in my head, but like Officer Wrigley was Lucy's interim TO when he was in the hospital. Tim was in the hospital and he got shot. So, but there's also some rhyming.
Yeah, there's a lot of rhyming that goes on. Like,
well, and then there was remember when everybody was like, it was Chris Sanford and it was another Chenford because he's Stanford.
Yeah. But yeah, so Penford is what I'm dubbing them now as. So yeah. And that's all that I will call them just because it's fun. But so they hear Lucy's call come across the radio about the suspect, and Penn starts in like about how, they just saved taxpayers' money and all that, and Tim shuts him down and he's like, we don't root for a suspect to die. And Penn's like, yeah, sorry. Like, he's obviously feeling bad about it. So then the conversation is ended when a car cuts another car off and is peeling away. And we find out that the car was reported stolen that morning. And so Penn tries to make a joke, like light me in the mood, as if that's the time to. And he's like, pull up close and I'll shoot out the tires. And Tim is less than thrilled to hear that. Like, if looks could kill, Penn would not be like still writing in that shop.
Yeah.
So the car crashes into another just as they come up behind it. And I loved that Miles had like a single line here and he was like, ooh, that had to hurt or something. I was like,
I had to go back. I was like, what did he say?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I wouldn't have thought that would like be a line that happened right now, but okay, we'll go with that. And so then Tim's about to ask them what they should do. And
that's all
like,
that's almost like a bystander, like not a cop thing to say. Like being hurt, like oh, like just walking by. Oh, that had hurt.
Yeah. And then Tim's like, so what should we do? I'm like, get out and help them. But Miles is like, peace out. Like, I'm out. I'm running. And then like our friend Nikki was like, why is he running like that? And like his butt sticking out. Like I could not. I like have to keep rewatching that scene. And I was like, why though? Why is he running like that? It was so good. It was so good. And so then like, Tim gives him third degree after they get the guy. Because Penn is running to the car with his gun drawn and the driver gets out and starts like, for lack of a better word, running, but then he like stumbles and falls. And Tim comes up, berates Penn as he should. Um, and you can just tell that Miles is just like so dejected. Like, God, I messed that one up too. So Penford arrives at the vehicle evidence garage. It's the best name that I could come up with it, but it was a garage. So
Yeah, I don't know the names of. What is that interrogation box or whatever? I didn't know what that was called.
yeah, yeah. And so Tim tells Miles that as a part of his punishment, he's checking every VIN on that stolen vehicle to make sure it matches. And Miles goes to argue and calls Tim Sarge. And Tim's like, it's Sergeant Bradford. And you're way too eager to get in trouble. So I'm slowing you down.
Slowing him down. I love that line.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved how, like, it didn't even phase Miles to call him Sarge. He wasn't like, oh, like I shouldn't call you that or anything. Like, he was just like Sarge. I feel
Mhm.
like that's where his experience as a police officer before
Yeah,
was in because
that fullness that he's
yeah.
already experienced. Yeah.
Yeah. So they keep walking and an alarm goes off. And Tim's like, we gotta go. Like Tim starts to dart off. And Miles is confused.
He's like, just like, let's go. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And Miles is like, why?
I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen him uh, run in that way or like
Yeah.
react.
Yeah. And Miles is just standing there and he's like, why? Like, what's wrong? What is the alarm for? And it's like, whatever it's for, you need to go.
If we hear an alarm, that means something serious.
Yeah. I was like cocky. Like, you gotta go. I was like, dude, you're cocky at like the worst times and you're like wanting to prove yourself, but you're not proving yourself right now.
Yeah.
It was so funny. So
That
then,
that that particular like situation or whatever, I thought that was interesting because they always over the years, like you would think that they would have like uh the repeat of like different situations. I'm like it's hard to really understand it all, but like the how the car was like there was something radioactive in the car, and he said something about there's a
Geiger counter. Yeah.
there. I don't know what that is exactly, but I guess it detects the radioactive or something. But that's something new that like maybe the stations have that, and like we've never like in the rookie world we've never experienced that. So it's something I thought was interesting that they just have a way of like bringing new
Yeah.
things. Like even though like we've gone 6 years and like they've been rookie after rookie, and you could continue to experience the same things, but I'm like, this is
Yeah. It's new.
you know,
Um, yeah. So then we see Garza and Gray walking through the station, which I didn't even catch that Felix Solis was guest starring in this episode until he showed up, and I was like, "Oh, hey, Garza! Like, I miss you."
a big bear hug. Like
Yeah. I don't know. I just didn't think that he would be in it. But then I was kind of surprised that he wasn't in it for all the like Jason and Monica stuff, which was interesting. But um so we see them walking through the station. Guards is briefing him on their case, which was like 12 hours ago, a suitcase nuke arrived at a naval cargo ship from Eastern Europe. A secure convoy was meant to take it to Oklahoma to be decommissioned, but the nuke went missing at the port before dawn. So they're trying to figure out who took it, and what they're planning on doing with it. And Gray's like, well, and you didn't think to inform LAPD? And Guard's like, there's been pressure to keep it quiet. Like, believe me, it's been hard. So then Gray like pulls Tim into his office and they brief Tim on what's going on. They ask him about the stolen car that him and Miles just brought in. And Paul Scoville is a rent-a-cop from the port. And they have no idea who he is, but he's a person of interest for this case now. So we go over to Ridley, who is looking out of the hospital window. I felt like that was like such a soap opera moment. Like, I'm, like, looking out the window, I was like,
That look, yeah, a soap
yeah,
opera gaze.
yeah, like soap opera kind of just very dramatic. And so Chen comes up to him, telling him that their suspect is officially gone, the time of death has been noted, and he's just like looking at her, and she's like, write it down, like on your clipboard. And he's like, oh, right, right. Like he gets distracted so easily, and I like that she's like there to remind them to like pull it back together. And so they still have to do an autopsy, but it seems pretty clear that it was an OD. And he goes to apologize for earlier, and Lucy tells him that she understands it's his first dead body. He just can't contaminate the crime scene. And he explains that it wasn't his first OD, like, his girlfriend. He tried to help, but he couldn't. And I liked when he said this. He was like, I wasn't being a delicate flower out there. Like, that'll never happen again. It just came rushing back. And she like shows him some empathy, and she tells him that the job is tough and they have to separate the personal from the personal. And it's the hardest thing that they have to do, but if they don't, then bad things happen. Um, which like I just remembered so vividly from the trailer because I was like, they were cutting between like her and Bradford, and I was like, who is she talking to with that? So it's nice to see it like all kind of come full circle.
Yeah. Um, I when you said like I like that she because I was talking about she's kind of like uh very business and very but you see like I like that she was like giving like she has that good balance of her personality like giving empathy but like then being like very um like to the point of like this is serious and things
Yeah.
like that. But I kind of wondered if she's kind of uh had her a little bit of a guard up a little bit if she, in like showing more of her personality or getting personal with other people just maybe because her personal life kind of just blew up so
Yeah.
I feel like maybe she could be putting a guard up
Yeah. And
um
kind of telling him like early on, like don't get too attached because it kind of comes back to bite you. So yeah.
somebody said that so Seth's background with the OD girlfriend like it has sort of a parallel to like Tim and Isabel.
Oh yeah.
And then uh oh Miles being like homeless parallels to Tamara.
Oh my God, stop. I
Yeah.
never even thought about that. Yeah,
Um
I was paralleling Miles to Jackson because kind of the like legacy, like hot shot, like I want to
yeah,
prove that I'm meant to be here, but
yeah.
then also like I'm not perfect. So
Yeah,
I didn't even think about Miles and Tamara. Oh my
uh-huh.
gosh. I love this.
Yeah. They're so it's just so good. They're so
Yeah. So then Nolan and Selena come into the hospital with the pharmacy victim's daughter, who they picked up from school, because the pharmacy victim got shot outside of the pharmacy and then they stole his car. And so they meet up with Nyla and Angela, who shared that the husband slash dad just died in surgery. The wife doesn't know yet. And Nyla and Angela have to take a statement, but it's easier to do that before she knows about him. So Selena's like, isn't it like mean to not tell her? And Nolan's like, yeah, but it's not going to change 10 minutes later if they wait, like. And so then Nolan picks up a call from Gray as they're walking out of the hospital, who's with Garza still, and they tell him about the nuke and that it can't be broadcasted. And so they need Nolan and Selena to put eyes on the suspect's house. Well, FBI and SWAT mobilize. So John and Selena set up a video surveillance to get a better look inside the house, and she checks in on him again. She's done this quite a bit in this episode, and I really like it because it's getting her out of the let me like think
Yeah.
just about myself. Not that like she always did that, but it's the roles are reversed because
Yeah.
he would do that to anyone. So
And I'll talk about it later, but like the way the way John was acting in this, like, and his just sort of feel like of being sort of self having a self-doubt. But I'll talk about it when we get to that point.
yeah.
Um
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, go for it.
no, but yeah, I like that. And it was a different side to Selena too, of like being yeah, what you said, their roles reversed of and it was just very soft, and it was very like I feel like that whole kind of situation he's like dealing with, it was very like he's uh it's kind of like he's in quiet like solitude and like interest, like he's feels like he's interest having a lot of introspection, and all of that was kind of a quiet
Yeah.
kind of respectful way.
Yeah. Well, especially too because at the pharmacy, like he thought that he had the shot and he probably did, but he didn't take it. So it was interesting to see him kind of like grovel with that in the way of like this man got hurt and it was potentially because he didn't take the shot, but also no one could have ever known that. So yeah. And then Selena like doesn't know that he's feeling like that, but she knows something's up with him. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, so as Nolan and Selena are watching the house, they see the suspects with another body, and they're not sure if the guy is dead or, alive. So they devise a plan to have Selena go undercover. And she's going undercover as a neighbor who's walking her dog and it got lost. And that was a throwback to Nyla's first episode, or yeah, with the laundromat.
Because she was in she was had
She had to play homeless
her,
on house, yeah. Yeah. Or no, the tweaker, Crystal. Um, but yeah, so Selena's like, knocking on the door. She's like, I was walking my dog. He got, he got loose, whatever. And so John's like entering the back of the home and the floorboard creaks and he's like looking down and he's like, oh shit. And so he like has to like announce himself. Um, and so Selena takes out the guy that's, answering the door, and no one takes out the other. Scoville is in the tub and needs help because he's, not doing well. So Garza and Grace are interrogating one of the guys that they grabbed, offering him a deal, names and locations for the device, and they can help him. And the suspect talks and gives them a location after a little bit, and they see the team, or we see the team mobilizing and driving to the location that he gave them with an airship too. Everyone's involved. And Seth's
the helicopter scene, like I noticed like it, do you remember the episode when they introduced like it was the pilot, the
backdoor pilot.
for Rookie Feds, and they were like, it was I almost I think I tweeted about it, I was like, did they just clip the exact same scene from that episode? Because they were, it was Gray and Garza up in the helicopter in that same episode. I think it's new, but it looks almost exactly
Yeah.
like, look almost exactly the same. So
Okay.
um
Yeah, so then Seth is amazed at how his first day is going. All like green and eager. He's like, oh my God, this is cool. And he's like, he asks Lucy if her first day was like this. And she just says curtly, and she's like, no, I saved my TO's life that day in a firefight. And this is a walk in the park. And Seth's just like, noted. Okay, badass right here. I'm like, yeah, another callback to her first day. Like, so many callbacks to not just the first episode, but like multiple episodes.
yeah. I want to know like when we get the day that the rookies find out that their TOs were once TO and rookie. Like
Yeah.
she's mentioning Tim, she's mentioning her TO. I'm like,
But she's not saying his name.
not who he is.
Yeah.
Also, I think quickly based on their interactions, they'll probably find out that they were also
Yeah.
boyfriend.
Yeah.
But
And I wonder too if they're gonna find out about the bet.
yes.
Like someone narks to Gray and
Oh
tells
yeah,
them
they
that.
yeah. I bet they know. I bet they find out. I
And
want to.
like I kind of want to know their thoughts. I wonder if they find out when they do the switch of the rookies. Because how does the bet go then? You
Yeah,
know?
it's like is yeah when they do is it episode the next two episode 3 if they
Yeah.
switch they could I would think they could find out then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of enough, like a good amount of time. So as the car chase continues, Tim radios and says that he knows that they're not supposed to shoot because the nuke. But he's just crashing the car. And Miles then hits Tim with, he's like, and I'm the cowboy? Like, you want to hit this car? And when it's kind of up in the air, but like a possibility, Tim's like, hang on, we're going for it.
Well,
And he expects more of them. Because like Garza is like, well, I guess as long as it's stable, yes, but like, you probably shouldn't. And so it's kind of a good thing that they didn't hit because another firefight ensues. Like it was like a mall area, but I don't know if that's what they called it. It was like an abandoned mall or like
mhm.
outdoor kind of office area.
I
Um,
think
so
like Bank of America or something in there.
yeah. And so another firefight ensues. And the suspects are on the run with the nuke strapped to one of them. This reminded me of I don't know if it was the first episode, but when Jackson froze during the shootout. I think it was the first episode because that's when Tim got hurt. Um,
Mhm.
just because like Tim had Seth kind of moved to the back behind the car.
Mhm.
But then like
Well,
also
he kind of like moved to back
yeah,
like
yeah,
Lucy right next
yeah,
to
yeah. But then like even, like they had Seth and Miles like clear the car and then like they helped too. But I was just like, this would be a good opportunity for one of them to like freeze up. But that also would be too reminiscent of Jackson, and we don't want to like have it like too paralleled. So, so Lucy takes one of the shooters down, Ridley clears the truck, they run up into the mall structure. And John has the moment to take the shot, and he does just that, taking the guy with the gun pointed at the nuke, and it's all over. So Nolan kind of redeems himself in that. Um, and yeah, I feel like that was a good ending for Nolan.
yeah. I liked he radios up to Gray and it's kind of like very somber, quiet um, mood, and Gray tells him, "Nice shot, Officer Nolan." I just love that. It was
Yeah.
based on just the all of the relationship between Gray and Nolan in this and their interactions. I love that.
Yeah. So then at the end of the episode, Garza is walking out with Gray and asking him about how the lieutenant life is treating him. And he's like, I love the pay, but wish it came under better circumstances. And he can't help but feel guilty. Like he got rewarded for blowing the top off the corruption scandal, and a lot of cops got fired. And Garza's like, they deserved it, and you deserve the promotion. And so then that's kind of the end of Gray and Garza that we see.
I was love to see. It was nice to see them uh, talking at the end, being
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Um,
Like outside of work.
Also, like I, I like that there's more of more of a story of why he became lieutenant. Like I thought it was just going to be like, oh, it's just time for promotion or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I like that it tied to that corruption
Yeah. Yeah.
story. It was an interesting way to.
But I also want to know more. Like, how was it presented to Gray? And like, was it always just kind of the next step and he just decided like, oh yeah, now is a good time? Or was it just kind of like, like an accommodation or something?
Mm-hmm.
So then we go over to Lucy and she's backing out of the parking lot to go home. And Tim stops by her car and he's all smiley after just being the hard ass he was to the rookies. And I was like, okay. And also, isn't she still in reverse at this point? Like, girl, put the car back in park. Like,
Yeah.
oh. I was like, oh, she's still in reverse. And like, it's probably a busy parking lot. Like, yeah.
If Tim comes up to me, I'm gonna put on the brake.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna slip off that brake.
Yeah. But I don't know, maybe she wasn't like like in reverse and pulling out. I don't know, but I was just like she's mid-drive. I don't know. So, he tells her that he heard about Ridley vomiting all over the crime scene. And which is so funny because when he was talking to Seth, he was like, I'll find out. And I'm like, you don't like at that point I thought that he did know. But then like when he went to talk to Lucy, I was like, so he didn't know. And he just found out from Seth. Um, so then she gives it right back to him with Miles, metaphorically lighting his duty manual on fire and throwing it out the window. And she was like, shoot out the tires comment, really? And Tim's like, he's a little rough around the edges, but it's day one. I'll get him under control. And Lucy was like, yeah, same. And so she questions that if they both screwed up on their first date, then it's a draw, right? And Tim like has a soft smile on his face and she's like,
Mm.
we'll see what tomorrow brings. And then she pulls away and that's it.
Do you feel like, ultimately at the end of the bet, like he might just kind of because
Let her win.
let her win, just because he wants to see her happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I also can see only because I've seen people memeing and gifting this and stuff is the little trophy thing that she like made. And I can see him like making her one of those. It's just like another little Chunford callback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. But that was it for Chenford. And then I don't know. I thought that this moment was kind of weird, but whatever. So we see John walk up to his front door and he's leaving a message for Bailey, telling her that he misses her, which is fine, cute, whatever. And then he's like, I wish you were at home so you could tell me that I did a good job today. And I was like, okay, that's cute too. And so then like he walks inside the house, but they're lingering there at the front door. And so me watching it, I'm like, Jason is inside that house. He's gonna be like sitting right there when no one walks in. I was totally delusional in thinking that because like it'd be too easy.
Yeah.
And so then Nolan like walks in, but there's still like kind of not ominous music, but it was just kind of like set up like to make it seem like someone else was in there. And so he like gets inside the house and he's like, good job. And he's like, nah, that was weird. I'm like, yeah, yeah. I'm all for like giving yourself kudos or whatever, like hyping yourself up, but that was weird. Like, yeah,
Well, yeah, I thought it was funny and deserved to say, good job after
yeah,
the day he had, it was
yeah,
rough.
yeah. So yeah, that was it for the new case, which was a great way to start off season 7. And then we have Wesley with the tapes. And I'm hoping that this is going to be, I don't know, because I think Ivan Hernandez is just supposed to be recurring, but I wouldn't doubt that this goes at least maybe until the midseason. But after the mess that Monica and Blair created, Wesley's been assigned to the station to temporarily make sure that they're doing things right. And he says that it's vital that law enforcement shows the public that they're taking the corruption scandal seriously. He has to review arrest reports and ensure their completeness and viability, which also means just being there at all times, which, hey, I'm all for because I'm a Wesley Evers fan. So, yeah.
Yes, please.
So, so then Wesley like meets up with Angela at the station, and we did not get much Angela in this episode.
Night and Nyla neither. Like we got a little bit of both.
Yeah. I saw someone say that we didn't get a bunch of Nyla, and I was like, oh, we got more of her than Angela, though. Like, at least she was on the calls with them. Angela wasn't. And I kind of wondered why.
But then we got the Lopez
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah. So Wesley meets up with Angela. She's like, I heard you got booed at roll call. And she's like, wait, what was the line? She was like, I'm just saying I'll cut a bitch. And the amount of like people were taking guesses of who would say that line, because we had those dialogue teases, and so everyone was like pulling like old clips, and they were like Jackson said that, and Selena said that,
Yeah.
and I think someone even said Lucy did or something. I don't know, but I was like,
I think Lucy said it to Jackson in
oh
season.
yeah,
But yeah, and then I don't remember what episode it was. I think Selena said it to Nolan. And
yeah,
so I noticed that. And I was like, yeah. Um, I think that's why I was like, oh no, I could hear Selena saying that. Maybe because I'd heard her saying that. But
yeah,
yeah, the amount of times you can like take a line and like repeat it throughout the series.
yeah, yeah. So then he's like, having my wife like beat up my enemies would not do me any favors. And so yeah, there's flirty banter. And so then he's using the Metro Liaison office while he's listening to the final recordings from Blair's therapy sessions, which
I didn't
is just Tim's old office.
Yes, I didn't even notice that until my rewatch, and I was like, or somebody noticed it on Twitter, and then as I'm rewatching, I was like, they're walking down that little hallway that they would go to, and then I'm like, yeah, that's Tim's old office.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, like, because they're on set, there's only so many spaces, but yeah,
Yeah,
love that. So Wesley shares that he feels dirty listening to everyone's secrets, especially when most are guilty of just being humans in emotional distress. Um, and Wesley, before Angela walks away, he asks if there's any news on Monica. And this is really the only news that we hear about her is that she evaded Interpol in Bolivia. So I wonder, wait, did we see her back on set? I feel like someone said that they did, but it was like
we don't know for sure. I
not
don't.
totally confirmed. Yeah. Um, so then Wesley's going through the recordings. Nothing's really jumping out at him. He's just kind of, you know, sitting there like checking people off the list, not guilty. And everything seems clear. And then he hears one from Detective Graham. And this guy's talking about a woman in his dream. And like Wesley thinks nothing of it. And then the guy's like, yeah, I work with her. Her name's Angela Lopez. And Wesley stops in his tracks. And I mean, again, if looks could kill, like he would, I mean, he would be chasing after this dude. And so he's like talking about how it's becoming a problem and this little crush that he has. And Wesley like pauses it right at the best time ever. And he's just not happy.
No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder why they picked Wesley for. I mean, obviously, like we know he's got to be in the show, but like of all DAs, or no, he's not a DA, but like of all of the people that are in the DA's office,
Yeah,
like
because would it be a conflict of interest, like investigating the station where your wife works?
you would think,
Especially if you're coming up in a situation like this, like,
yeah,
um, yeah,
you would think, but then also maybe they don't use the same last name. Like she's just Angela Lopez, but even then people know that they're married.
yeah,
So it's kind of weird. Also, though, I don't, Gray wouldn't have had the option that it's Wesley. Like I feel like Gray has choices that he can make, but that one was not one of them.
yeah.
I don't know. It was odd because I was like, yeah, why would Wesley kind of commit to that? Like, yeah. So Wesley walks into the break room to see Detective Graham, and they start talking, and Graham's thrilled that he's there, telling him that like he can do, telling him that anything he can do to improve Patrol's paperwork is a lifesaver. And so Wesley confirms that he works with Angela, and Graham tells him that she's amazing, and he admits that he didn't think that they'd last, and he always thought that she'd end up with a cop. And Wesley's like, nope, we're happily married with two kids. That would have been a great time for them to be like Jack and so
Mhm. Yeah, please tell me the name.
Yeah, but also like no, because I want them if when they say the name, because we know that they're going to, I want it to be like both of them. And it's like it's just kind of it's natural, you know? So
Like the kids, Jack and
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
like they're, I don't know, I said it last year's wish list, but like they're, getting the kids ready to like go to daycare or school or whatever. And they're like, all right, got him, got her, like just kind of say the name like naturally. But yeah, it was like when I first was watching it, I was like, there was a perfect opportunity. But I don't know, I want both of them to be there. So that's the end of the exchange, and Wesley is not happy. Like him and Tim were grumpy. This
Uh-huh.
all
I,
because of like other guys like around their women. Yeah. I loved it though. It was great. So Wesley is like pacing kind of the like a loft area, I guess, where Selena and Miles and Seth are. And he sees Angela and Graham talking in the bullpen. And he starts rambling to Selena. But then he's pulled away to go to the interrogation room because he has to like sign off on the deal for the Nuke guy. And then at the end of the episode, oh my God, this was just so cute. Wesley and Angela are sitting in bed. She's reading a book, which the title, they like kind of zoomed in on it.
it
Um,
was like uh
Seducing or
seducing
sleeping
a,
sniper.
seducing a sniper or something, yeah.
Yeah,
Seducing her. Yeah.
yeah. And so like he's just staring at her, like, and he asks her if she's happy, and she's like, well, right now, like, I'm sleepy and, whatever. But generally, yeah, generally, I'm very happy. And she's like, do you want to like fool around? And he's like, well, not, no, but yes. And, so like, they're so cute. And so then, yeah, that's kind of the end for them. But
I feel like it was nice to see because it's been a while since we've seen Angela and Wesley like at like in bedroom, like
I mean,
bed
domestic like that. Yeah.
yeah, domestic. Like they've had the domestic, but it's been more like with the kids and things like that. But this one was like it very much like harkened back to like
Yeah.
the saucy early days of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
Well, it felt very adult of them. Like it wasn't like, oh, we're mom and dad here. Like, no,
Yeah.
like we're husband and wife,
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was good. Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't want anything bad to happen to them. I'm like, I'll take some angst, but no, we're not messing with them.
Yeah.
We can't. Because apparently Nyla and James are gonna go through it. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm I'm curious to how this kind of I don't know that it's not really a true love triangle, but like just the three
Yeah.
the other detective and like how that story is going to play
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, because like, do they work together a lot? Like, I need to know more about this guy. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But kind of going back to the Nyla of it all. So the season 7 trailer, which was like more all-encompassing, what did you think of with all the Nyla stuff? Like her in the hospital bed with Angela and then like the Wesley and her stuff.
I I'm welcoming some angst for Nyla. I'm welcoming some like that vulnerability. Like we haven't I think I mentioned it last time when I was like we haven't seen a lot of that vulnerability. I'm welcoming that. But like, keep her safe. Like
Yeah.
um uh I need a really good meaty story for Nyla. Like we
Yeah.
haven't seen that. But I don't really have any theories about
Yeah.
there's probably something to do with James. I hope, they remain intact. Obviously. But let's learn some more stuff about them.
Yeah.
And it, and like, what's interesting is, you have Wesley comforting Nyla in that
Uh-huh.
scene. Like, I know you're through hell. And I'm like, what is hell? What's
Yeah.
happening now?
And
Like,
like, why is yeah.
yeah, because they're not, it's usually, you would think it would be mostly Angela because they're more close. And yeah, they've had the like couples like pairing up. Maybe they've come more friendly and comfortable
Yeah.
as friend, like, couple friends.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. No, I was wondering the same thing because I was like, all right, well, we just saw her in the hospital bed with Angela and they're like hugging. And like, granted, that might not be from the same episode, but I was like, and now we see them in what I'm assuming is like a waiting room type of thing. And Wesley's there. So if it's something to do with Nyla as like her individual self, why is James not there? Or if it's something to do with James, why is like Angela there? Why isn't Angela there? I don't know. I'm so confused by all that. Like I want to know what's going on. But yeah. So lastly, like what did you think of, because I know that there's some like debate going on about this and like people's hot takes about Lucy becoming a detective or staying a TO. Like, do you want her to become a detective at some point, or are you kind of just like I could like keep her as a TO?
uh I like it right now. I like I think it was such a smart move to have Lucy and Tim be TOs together. That was and how to maneuver, like they were once TO and rookie, so now they're TOs together. I like it now. I wouldn't I wouldn't mind it continuing. I think what happens when you, and I think that's what they're trying to get away from, is when you make one of the characters like more of a detective, it kind of like Angela and Nyla are pretty integrated in it, but also they're not like the the makeup of the show is like patrol, so
Yeah.
they've been kind of sidelined almost, like they're kind of the outskirts of it. They're getting in it, but they're outskirts. So
Yeah.
I would be interested to see how that would work. I wouldn't like either. I wouldn't mind her being detective. I'm kind of, it kind of is almost hinting like she might be detective by the end of the, I don't know, but I would kind of like to see that side of her too.
Yeah.
I honestly wish she would kind of walk away from the UC at some point, like figure out like this is not for me, like because like I don't see it really happening for her, like because if doing like long-term UC work, I just don't think that would be as far as like how I would see her in the future, like family and things like that. I just don't see that working out for her in the long run.
Yeah.
But whatever she wants is like supportive.
So I was kind of thinking like along the same lines, but a little bit different. Because I was like, I would like to see her stay a TO. Because I feel like we kind of need another TO.
Yeah.
Especially like if Tim goes back to Metro at some point. Like we need another TO than just Nolan because they've never had more than one rookie at a time. I mean, except for the OG3. But like, it would be also interesting to see like, okay, once Selena graduates from being a rookie, like she's gonna be a P2. Who is she gonna ride with? And then, like if Lucy's not an interim TO anymore, she can ride with Selena, and we can just go back to the two TOs. But I would like to kind of see her stay on patrol. I would like to see her go to detective because I think it would be cool to have her, Nyla, and Angela together. But also at the same time, I'm good with just the two detectives. Because, like you said, I feel like it sidelines them, kind of pigeonholes them. I mean, there are storylines that they do, and they do get involved with the patrol officers, but it's not as much.
Yeah. Like I almost miss like I'm very nostalgic of like the early days. I miss like I said, I miss Nyla from the beginning, and I miss there's a there's a there's something I feel like we just haven't seen in a while from Angela, like when she was in, I don't know, I can't pinpoint it exactly, but I'm like I miss Patrol Angela too. Like there's something about that.
And I kind of wonder why we haven't seen Patrol Angela. Like, I know Angela's been pregnant, but like, we've seen Patrol Nyla or Nyla like go back to the TO. So, like, what about Angela? Because I do miss that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I did know. I did think about that the other day. I was like, we haven't had Angela go and be back to that
Yeah.
since she was like on Jackson's last day.
Yeah.
And and then I'm interested, like, because we see Nyla in a patrol uniform
Mhm.
soon. So I think next week, I think, isn't it
Yeah.
in the promo?
Yeah, because Nyla's like, she won't learn unless you let her fail or whatever. Um, I wonder if it's kind of in the white space though with Angela. Because I mean, the last time she was a TO, she lost her rookie. So I
Yeah,
wonder, like, if it's in the white space of Angela has went to Gray and has been like, I don't want to be a TO anymore. Like, I can't go and fill in for a TO because I don't know what could happen. Like, I wonder if that's some of Angela's backstory that we don't know because it's in that white space.
yeah,
But that could be why. Like we've never really seen her as a TO again, even if it's just for a day or something. So yeah, I don't know.
yeah. That's an interesting point to make and interesting theory. I like that.
But to go back to Lucy, like I would like to see her kind of keep the undercover side. If she can do that sometimes, like I don't
Yeah,
long term, like an episode or two is fine, but like mainly be a TO because I feel like that could work.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know.
yeah. And I like the Tio Lucy. I like so.
Yeah. I feel like she has such a good personality for it because
Yeah,
she's very like, you know, um, empathetic, nurturing, but like she also wants to make sure that like she's doing good and like other people are doing good. So
yeah.
yeah. I don't think we have any other notes for the episode. It was a long one.
I don't think so. I was trying to make a parallel back with Nolan that I can't I can't get my thoughts together for,
Yeah.
but one thing that I did note was that um the first interaction I think between Nolan and Gray, um uh he has this sort of sense of self-doubt that's like um that it just made me feel like it calls back to like season one. Like in season five, he had uh I felt like he had this sort of need to like impress Gray, which was like another side of like rookie Nolan.
Yeah.
And uh but I think it was, do you remember the episode with he had the officer involved shooting in season one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt kind of like that. It was calling back to that because he was um and it was almost the opposite because wasn't he like in this episode he was like sort of restraining himself to shoot,
Yeah.
and then he felt like
Like he could.
like
Like
he was,
mhm.
yeah, he was unsure about it. And I love that Gray was kind of the one to step in and say, you know, uh you know, it's okay, let's wait until we um see the body cam footage, because I feel like that was the whole process with the officer involved shooting, but it was like the opposite. Like
Yeah.
he was feeling that it was that very somber kind of quiet
Yeah.
feeling where he was doing a lot of introspection
Yeah.
back with that.
Yeah. Um, do you want to take us through the first listener thought?
Sure. Paige says, I loved it all, zero complaints, and the new rookies are growing on me fast. Same, Paige.
Mhm.
I love it. Chenford is serving. Nolan was hysterical, and I like how his character is evolving this episode. Yeah. And I'm ready to kick that detective slimy butt away from Ropez. Best premiere ever. I agree. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of negative comments on the episode. I feel like it was like
Yeah.
well received and like really positive. Everybody, I feel like and like there was just a lot of fun like to be
Yeah.
watching. It's and I think something, and I don't know if it's like if you're a casual viewer, and I think somebody talked about that today, if you're a casual,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you're not gonna get as much out of all of this
Yeah.
if you're like a super like fan that like rewatches all
Yeah.
the time, because you're like, I am like in heaven, like calling back to all these things from the pilot. It's just like, it's so much fun. I think like fans of the show um, really enjoy, it's the fun of it's just the fun of the show. It's what, it's really fun. It has that flavor of humor and like familiarity. That's just, I think people have fun with. So
Yeah. I also think that the hiatus was so long, and then TikTok really blew up for the cast. So
yeah,
it's like we all had fun like watching those TikToks. And like even I mean, I don't know if you follow them on Instagram, but like the Paparazzi podcast,
I
Instagram,
did. Yeah,
like they covered the behind the scenes footage of this episode.
I
And I was
did
like,
that
holy
whole,
cow, like I watched the live of them
yeah,
filming this, and I was just kind of like, okay, like it was cool to put like the pieces together.
yeah,
So yeah, it was yeah, I don't know. I think I like responded back to Court, who had said like, what's it like to be a casual viewer? It must be so boring. And I was like, I can't relate. Like,
yeah.
oh my God. It's just it's so good though. Like, yeah, I don't know. I was really looking forward to this premiere and it did not let me down. So
Yeah, yeah,
which I'm glad because it was a long hiatus, and I feel like some people were probably like, oh, don't know, like if I can stay on with it or whatever.
and
But also the fandom's grown so much.
yeah.
So yeah, and I
And
think
I wasn't really expecting the turnout on Twitter as I have, because I think there's a lot of people that have kind of dispersed and kind of like, and it seems to me like, oh, people are kind of coming back. Like I don't like, for me, like I'm not on there as much, but I'm
yeah,
like, I'm gonna come and spend my night here with Rookie.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
my appointment.
yeah, yeah. Um, so Mandy had said, I loved it. Aaron has not been killed off. Loved the way that they addressed his exit and left the door open for his return. I hope Wesley knows how much Angela loves him. And loving the new rookies and Chenford turning this into a bet. It was perfect. It really was.
Mm.
I mean, if there's anything more Chenford, it's them training their rookies into a bet. Like, yeah, that's Chenford. So,
And yeah, I hope we get to see Aaron come back, and uh yeah. He he's one that I think I might, don't kill me, but I might like him more than I like Jackson. Like I'm gonna miss him. So
yeah, I feel like, I mean, we had Aaron for quite a bit, but I
yeah,
also feel like we didn't get enough of him. Like, there
yeah,
was more
we
to
did.
be told.
He was like, in contrast to Jackson, he wasn't like a part of the
Yeah,
main trio, and it wasn't like so focused on him. He was kind of, he came in as a guest star, uh, and then he kind of came in, and what I like about it, he was able to kind of like, I think he was able to like work with every single character. Like he had scenes with
yeah,
every character, and he came in and he like every single partnership. I'm like, no, I want to watch more of this. I want to
yeah.
watch. He really integrated very well.
Yeah, yeah, he added humor. Well, and I feel like too, like he was their first like solo rookie. And
Mhm.
it was like when he was a P2, they brought in Selena. Like, they didn't really, I mean, they had that with like Lucy and Nolan and stuff, but when he came in, Lucy was going through so much that she couldn't like mentor Aaron in a way. Like she could, but it was different. Whereas I feel like when Selena came in, Aaron kind of took her under his wing, and now Selena's doing that with Miles and Seth. And so like I liked having that, and I feel like Aaron kind of paved the way for that in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I miss him. I hope that he comes back at some point.
Yeah.
So
And to mention like Lucy, like very in the beginning, they didn't really get too much of a connection, but I
Yeah.
like season 5, they got more
Yeah.
like, um uh besties kind of, and then his dynamic with Tim, like, and that was just sort of beginning, and I'm like, no, I want more of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you want to take us through Shannon's?
Yeah. Shannon says, wow, that sure was mind-blowing. Action-packed, awesome, outstanding, and sensational premiere. I can't wait to see what's in store for us next. Selena sure is becoming a really good cop. She has the best teacher. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was one of those interviews that Nathan had said, yeah, Selena's really capable. So she's kind of coming into her own.
Yeah. I feel like Selena really grew a lot in this
Yeah.
episode compared to how she was last season. Because even last season, like, she was still doing things that, like, it was like, come on, she shouldn't be doing this. But also at the same time, like, she's a rookie. Like, that's part of the whole experience. But I feel like in this one, like, you could tell that she's like 10 months into it and she was maturing more because the new rookies were doing all of those rookie mistakes. Whereas Lena was kind of like, I've got it. Like, I can do it now. Now, that's not to say that next week she won't be like that because I'm sure she will be, but it was interesting to see.
She seems more, I think she seems a little bit more grounded.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, to go back like with her and uh Aaron, um some of the, like, this episode like kind of remind that moment when she's like doing the things with the sleeves. I felt like that was such a, like, she's had a lot of comedy, but like I felt like that was kind of the same flavor as like some of Aaron's comedic scenes. So I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
she's kind of got that
Yeah.
going. That's funny.
Yeah. That does kind of leave me to wonder, and I highly doubt it, if we'll get any more Aaron mentions. Like, like every few episodes or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe not, because there might be something like to do with contracts or whatever, like legalities that they might not be able to, but
Well,
it would be cool if they did.
I don't think they've ever mentioned Jackson by name. I think
Yeah.
they've called back to him and like alluded to him in memories of things, but yeah. And I always wondered about that. Like, why can't they ever mention
Yeah.
them? Because even like after Anderson died, I think they mentioned her and she was even featured like in one
Yeah.
of that. So
Yeah. So Blessed Turtle had a couple of thoughts, and they said Lopez, or regarding Lopez, Wesley probably thinks Angela was joking, but nah, all he had to do was name names, and she would have been throwing hands before lunch. Nobody boots her man. He has absolutely nothing to fear, especially in regards to Detective Graham's private fantasies about her. Yeah, I don't think he has anything to worry about, but I do think he's gonna spiral with it
yeah.
because he can't talk to anyone. I mean,
That's the really
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
hard thing.
They also said that Lieutenant looks good on Gray. Definitely gonna take some getting used to though. Definitely. I
Mhm.
mean, I wonder like if that opens up the watch commander sergeant spot, right? And so I wonder if like Tim could take that.
Yeah.
Um, and then they also said Selena's making good progress. We're finally getting plainclothes day for her. Can't wait. They also said Chenford is back in their competitive era, and I love to see it. I especially love how Lucy tried to be the bigger person for like a second before giving in to Tim's taunts, like we knew she would. Definitely. She was
Mhm.
she was trying to, trying to be good about it. And then they also said, as for the new guys, still too early to tell who I'll like more, but I love them both so far. The show always delivers on rookies with unique personalities, circumstances, and challenges to overcome for them and their TOs. I do think Tim's going to have a harder time though, since his rookie is unhoused, which is a big no-no for the LAPD. So he probably lied on his paperwork, and that's going to be a bit of a
Yeah.
test for Tim to help him overcome. Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Well, think about the last time somebody lied on their paperwork. It was uh Talia.
Oh yeah, about the brother, right?
Yeah. But I don't know, like
I
hers
feel
was,
like that was a bigger issue
yeah,
though.
that was a bigger, it was more serious. So yeah.
Like I wouldn't think he could get in big trouble for being unhoused, but maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna come out, but it'll come out after he finds a place to
Mhm.
live, you know? Um, and it makes me wonder, like, did he just like why did he leave Texas? There's so much more that I need to know about Miles. Why did he leave Texas? Was
Yeah.
he like kicked out of somewhere and that's why he's living in his car because he just like didn't plan on coming to LA? Or is he truly just like in hopes of a fresh start? Like, I don't know. I don't know. There's more to the story here. They
And
all,
then like Sugarland's like a smaller town.
yeah,
Uh, so it's like a smaller PD, I think. So um
but like maybe he got in trouble there, and that's
yeah.
why he's, like on the run, like, not like on the run, but like he came here
Yeah.
before like really like putting roots down. He wanted to like get a job. I don't know. It. I'm gonna be so interested to see more of his backstory. So. They also said that Nyla didn't have much of a presence this episode, and Thorsten's just gone now. Thankfully, he's still alive. Still traumatized from the season 4 premiere. Hope we see some of him at some point, or maybe this could be a setup for the other rookie spinoff being developed. Who knows?
I would watch a Aaron Thorson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like I thought about that before, but it didn't really cross my mind until after this episode that I was like, oh yeah, like he totally could. Because he's the other rookie that they've let that, they've had to say goodbye to that's still alive, so
Yeah.
maybe. Um, and then they said for Nolan and Bailey, smart play getting Bailey out of the country and away from Jason for now. Gotta suck having to go home alone to such a big empty house, so. Yeah, I feel like John really felt that, you know,
Yeah.
present. So, yeah. Um, but I think that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining me, Emily. It was so much fun.
It was so exciting. I was so glad to co-host with you. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you could do it and, draw back to all of these parallels to, the first season and the first episode. Like, we didn't think that there would be this many parallels, but there is.
I had my work cut out for me. Oh my God. There's like going through this the whole day. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. I know. Like going through the entire workday was like I just want to go home and like talk about this episode. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything else. And of course, the day was going by so slowly. I'm like, oh my God, like I just want to go rewatch and talk about it. So yeah, we're definitely back in the rookie, universe. So yeah. But you can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod underscore or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. You can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at jstarcade04, Carrie Hyman. We're on TikTok too at the Shop Talk Podcast underscore. We're also on Blue Sky, but haven't done much there. So we're at the Shop Talk Pod. Emily, where can we find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter, Emily8174. I'm kind of just there on Tuesdays. And then I'm everywhere else. Like I'm on literally like Blue Sky,
Yeah.
TikTok. I don't post on TikTok, but I'm just there lurking.
Yeah.
And I think all of them are like Emily in the photo,
Yeah.
Instagram and everything. So, and then we have the Ricky Rewatch Instagram that is sort of semi-active. So there's also a Twitter page, but it's not active at the moment. So
Yeah. Yeah. I know I love seeing the rookie rewatch like Instagram page pop up in my little stories. I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, there's been so much content that I feel like because I also followed the rookie BTS page
yeah,
too. So I
there
feel like I'm just like getting hit with the same content like multiple times because I feel like everyone's resharing it. But I'm like, I will watch the same trailer multiple times. I don't
I
care.
will, but they're like doing like like sharing like every behind the scenes, like thank you
Yeah.
for whoever's running that, because you're doing the Lord's work there. It's
Yeah.
from somebody who kind of used to trying to keep up with that a little more. It's a lot to keep up with. So
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with a new episode. So yeah. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Go get him, boo.